Hmm. Apparently I'm live. Interesting. I didn't realize the lighting would be so dark behind me. Let me change that. Let me try shutting this off and this. Okay. So hopefully that's a little better lighting and better sound. I just wanted to hop on real quick because I had an interaction with a neighbor recently and over the past few days, and I just came to a realization. I have a series of videos that are called Lashon hara kills, and it really is true. They say it's one of the only mitzvahs. I've heard it said it's the only mitzvah that you can't do tshuva for, and so it's something that once you speak the words, you can't take them back. Once somebody hears something, they can't unhear what they've heard. So it's kind of a big deal. And I'm thinking about apartment living, New York City living, and this whole or just being on top of each other kind of thing. Oh wait, I'm supposed to be looking at the camera. So hi. Um, I think one of the challenges of living in apartments, I moved into Brooklyn about a year and a half ago, and my first apartment was not an apartment; it was a house. It's a three-story house, and I had three roommates. It's large, plenty of space, beautiful backyard. Loved it. Obviously there were roommate issues as there usually are, like someone made a mess or didn't clean up after themselves, etc. But we were all pretty civil. I think we were all very civil. Um, and even if there were definitely things that bothered me, we communicate. I expressed myself, and I always felt like um, we really communicated really civilly. So that's really a good, a really good quality to have in roommates. So the next place I lived, that was a sublet. I called it the COVID special. So the family was out of the country, and they agreed to let us stay there for just a few months. So I moved into an apartment building after that, and it was a co-op building. So I was renting directly from the owner of the apartment. They owned the apartment as a co-op, and were able to rent it out to me. So there were, I guess, higher expectations than I should have had. I thought if it's a co-op building and everyone owns their apartment or is renting from an owner, that means people act a certain way or will treat the building better or be nicer. I don't know. I just assumed it meant like people would be more conscientious because they either own their apartment, so it's their own place, and they're going to take good care of it, and they want the apartment to be in, the building to be in good stead. Or if they're renting directly from an owner, even though they're a renter and not the owner, I still felt like they would be more careful or more, conscientious of not just the apartment but the whole building because they know the owner. It's like Stuyvesant Town where you're renting from like the devil. There's like 40,000 people who live in Stuyvesant Town. Nobody knows their landlord, which is really different than renting a co-op from someone who owns the apartment. I thought I was wrong. Anyway, it was a big enough place though that there wasn't bad feelings. It just wasn't well taken care of. The common spaces, the super. I think he mopped like once a year. I think he lined it up when the realtor showed me the apartment. They like called each other and said, "Okay, I'm going to show the unit, so you should be in the hallway mopping," because that was the only time I ever saw him mopping when the realtor took me there. Anyway, so the advantage of being in a really large building was that there wasn't drama, there wasn't gossip, there wasn't clicks or I don't know, there just wasn't weirdness. So with the I guess everything has an upside and a downside. So because the size and the volume and I guess probably the amount of work the super had on his plate, it really wasn't clean as much as I would have liked, or it wasn't as well kept as I expected. Fast forward to the end of that year, I move into a smaller building, which I thought was supposed to be one of the nicest buildings in the neighborhood. It had like a really famous person in the Jewish world that like lived here 40 or 50 years ago, and it also um, is a condo building. So I thought, well, that's kind of a step up, I think, from a co-op because a co-op, they say you don't own the property, you own shares in the cooperative, and a condo, you actually own the place. It's like a deed and a title as opposed to shares or a certificate of ownership of stocks. So I was wrong. I thought it would be, a smaller building more family feeling, more community oriented. I also thought it'd be really well kept, well taken care of, good condition, etc. And what was interesting is that they do have people who come and clean the hallways and common areas every day, which I find it even a little excessive. I think once a week is more than enough. But yeah, so they come and do their thing. I guess they vacuum and mop and take out the trash and recycling. But I don't think they've replaced the carpeting for like over 100 years. It looks like a person died on the carpet outside my apartment. Um, I don't think they've replaced or fixed anything in a very long time, decades, who knows? Um, dust, whatever. I could go on and on. There's like a ton of weird things going on. I don't know what's happening in the basement, but they're digging stuff up and it's been dug up for a while. And then really no response from management. Oh my gosh, I'm getting on such a tangent. My whole point was that a smaller building where everyone knows each other and there's a small group chat and everyone's like families and they're all from the same neighborhood. I mean, the same background, same community. Um, I thought it would feel more like family. And here's where I get to Lashon hara. What I've discovered is that everyone has something to say about everybody else. And there's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of cross chatter. So the group chat is it's also mixed. It's both men and women. In the last building, which was like huge, they had a strictly women's group chat on WhatsApp and then a separate one for men, which is highly advisable. Because like within my first week of moving into this building, there are like people arguing in the group chat and like calling each other names. It seemed pretty hostile. And I'm like, let's make a separate group chat for the men and women so that like the men can insult each other and we don't need to know about it. And the person who created the group chat, she's like, yeah, go ahead. That's a great idea. Nobody joined. I put a little announcement that I'm going to make a group chat just for women, which I thought would really be embraced and like people would be excited about that in this community because men and women are totally separate. But I think two women, another one or two joined. I could check, but it's not that important. But the point is that this group chat is lively, a little hostile, and it seems like there's one or two people who really have not such good relationships with other people in the building. But then beyond that, there's a young couple on my floor who absolutely, or at least maybe not the wife, but definitely the man has opinions about me. Like he's trying to like makar of me. And I'm like, I moved to Crown Heights. I came here for a reason. Like I don't need you to makar of me. Like I'm makarved. Um, so anyways, that's super annoying when people are judging you or have opinions about what they think you do and don't do. And then, complaints. Like I had boxes in the hallway when I had first moved in because I wasn't sure if I was keeping certain books. And then I had a bed that was delivered late and I'd already bought a bed. So I had another bed in a box. I also had Amazon send me the wrong thing. They sent me this huge box and it wasn't at all what I ordered. And so that was in the hallway until FedEx or UPS came to pick that up again. So to me, that just seems like normal shit. Excuse my language. Like this is what people do. You get deliveries. They sit outside your door until you open them, or sometimes a couple days if you're away. You hope they don't get stolen, but this is like a part of life. And also I had just moved. Anyway, long story short, after a couple days, I was outside in the hallway with my mother, and we were, I think we were opening a box or reading the outside or something. I think we were debating whether or not to attempt to assemble a piece of furniture by ourselves. And so we're outside in the hallway. Look, I'm like, kind of bent down on my knees, like looking at this box. She's standing up, and this neighbor in question comes out of the elevator, and he's like looking at me, and I'm just thinking, like, can I help you? Are you gonna take a picture? Why are you looking at me? And he just said, these boxes have been here for a long time. And his tone of voice, I was just like, F you. I know that. I wish they were gone too. If I wanted them, they would be inside my home. It was just like stating the obvious, but his tone of voice was just so disparaging and negative and like condescending. Like he's trying to be a nice guy and he thinks he's such a big shit, excuse my language. And he's really not doing a good job of like covering up that he's annoyed and frustrated. And so I just said, yep, if you want to help me move them, I'd love that. And also there were two boxes. I remember this. There were two boxes I was supposed to put in the storage in the basement, and somebody stole my hand truck. also wonderful new gesture. Like I move in, I have a hand truck outside with 2 boxes, and I come back, my hand truck is gone. Really shitty. Excuse my language. So, but it's how I'm feeling, and this video is pretty much a therapy session for me because I just need to get this off my chest. So anyway, so 5 minutes ago, I'm downstairs, go to my car to get something. I'm coming back into the building. He's outside, and he says to me, "Hi, I'm your neighbor. I'm your next door neighbor," which isn't true. He lives 2 doors down. I just wanted to let you know there were some people doing some loud sounds, and it's a little disturbing. And I knocked a few times. I'm sorry about that. And I just remember thinking, like, yeah, I know. I was in the middle of a Tony Robbins event, a very loud event. I went out and got special speakers so I could blast the music, and it was all during daytime hours. It was not before 10 in the morning, and it was not after 10 at night, and it's not illegal. I could blast my music as loud as I want in New York City until I think it's not even 11 o'clock at night if I were to check the law, but for sure 10. After, then there's an expectation that people follow the law, which most people don't, and the cops don't do anything about it. But there is an expectation that most people follow the law and are quiet after 10 or 11 at night, which we were. So anyway, it was really annoying. And so I said to him, yeah, so there were people in my apartment. I had 2 guests, and we were doing an event, and it's a very involved experience, and it was always during the daytime. I may have forgotten that part. The point is, you can't complain about noise complaints during the daytime. You live in New York City. Have you ever heard sirens? Have you ever heard neighbors blasting music nonstop 24/7? Yeah, I have. And the fact that I was only doing it for 4 days, I've lived here for 6 months, and it was during the day and not at night. Anyway, I told them, yes, I heard knocking. You could have slid a note under my door, or it was very disturbing and disruptive, or whatever. It interrupted the event, and it was really annoying. So, the point is, I was trying to figure out what is it that irks me so much about this neighbor. Like literally, even seeing him, talking to him, it just makes me want to like, ugh. I don't get that way. I think this is the first time ever I've had this kind of reaction, which is why I'm like, I need to get this off my chest. So I'm doing some YouTube therapy. Um, so what is it? And then I realized, oh, it's that disgusting feeling when you know that someone's talking about you behind your back. So his wife, his kids, who knows? Um, but then to your face, he's a total fraud. He's a total false, representation of what he thinks is a convincing persona, and I see right through it, because people will always feel what you're feeling and sense who you are way more than they'll believe the things that come out of your mouth. You can say all the nice things in the world, but if your tone or the look in your eyes, the look on your face is condescending, people know. And it's really, I guess the good part about this, I always try to find good in it, right? So I'm like, okay, so why is God sending this? What lesson can I learn, right? And the truth is that we have a lot of wisdom. We have a tremendous amount of wisdom below the neck. It's not about our thoughts or our words. It's about our soul, our heart. We feel things. Beautiful concept last week that our heart develops. It's the first thing that develops when you have like a new baby, a fetus. Is when you know that it's alive, is the heart beats, and that develops before the brain. So it's like the primordial organ. And it is so much deeper in the essence of who we are. And when your heart feels something and you just know something and you can't explain it, it's in your gut. That's when you really know it's true. When you can't find the words, when you can't explain it, when it's unexplainable, it's like love. If someone asks you, why do you love someone? And you tell them all the reasons, then it's actually not love. You probably just admire or are attracted to or infatuated or etc. But if you don't have reasons, not because they're wealthy or they're attractive or they're kind to me, they treat me well, they buy me gifts, but it's like, I just love this person. Even if they're an artist and have no job and have no money in it, when it's unexplainable, that's when you know it's real. That's when it's love. When all the other assets fall away and you still love that person. They always say, looks fade, jobs come and go, money comes and goes, but it's the essence of that person that is what you love. So it's really a testament to our incredible wisdom of the soul, of the heart, of just deep knowing. Um, so I'm going to take that lesson from it. I'm going to say that I have a deep knowing that perhaps it's not a perhaps. I'm just trying to be like give someone the benefit of the doubt. But there is no doubt. I have a deep knowing this neighbor is speaking about me behind my back, and it just totally kills the relationship. What else does Lashon hara kill? The relationship, the ability to communicate, the ability to have respect for this person, my opinion of this person. Like literally, I dread if I accidentally am going to run into this person on the street or in coming into the building, the elevator, in the hallway. Yuck. That's the thing. It's like it's really hurting himself and whoever's listening to the Lashon hara. They do say it also is affects the person that's spoken about, and that's probably why I feel so when I think about this person. So, lesson number 7,521 about why Lashon hara kills. It's not good. Don't do it. It stinks. Not a mitzvah. It's an avera. No tshuva. Just don't do it. That's my lesson. Anyway, thank you for listening. Have an awesome day.